Hi, boys and girls, welcome back. Today we're going to be using mental math to multiply and divide. We're going to start by looking at the commutative property of multiplication. This property states that when the order of the factors is changed, the product stays the same. We learned this when we first learned about multiplication in third grade. Here's an example of what that would look like. 5 times 4 equals 20. Therefore, if I flip my factors, 4 times 5 will also be 20. So basically, the commutative property of multiplication says that you can flip-flop the factors within a problem and the answer will remain the same. So when we are given a multiplication problem with 3 factors, we can use a commutative property to rearrange the factors so that we can solve the problem mentally in our head. For example, if I had a problem 6 times 7 times 50, if I look at that and I try to solve it the way that it is, that seems way too confusing. So I'm going to use the commutative property to rearrange my factors. I'm going to flip my 7 and my 50 in my factors order. So now my new equation will read 6 times 50 times 7. So I'm going to start by solving 6 times 50. 6 times 50, I know 6 times 5 is 30, so 6 times 50 is 300. Now I still have a remaining factor of 7. So I'm going to take my product, 300, and multiply it times 7, my remaining factor. 3 times 7 is 21, so 300 times 7 would be 2,100. So my final answer, because I'm done with all of my factors, my final answer would be 2,100. I can also use the distributive property to help multiply in my head. So distributive property says multiplying the sum by a number is the same as multiplying each added in by the number and then adding the products. Let's see what that looks like. So the distributive property basically lets you break a number into parts that are easier to multiply. So for example, if I have 5 times 63, 5 times 63 is difficult to do in my head, but I can take the number 63 and I can break it into 2 easier to multiply parts. I know 60 plus 3 equals 63. So once I have that number 63 broken into 2 easier parts, I can distribute the 5 through both of those parts. So that would look like this. 5 times 60 plus 5 times 3, because I need to put both 60 and 3 together to get back to my 63. So I'm going to solve those. 5 times 60, I know 5 times 6 is 30, so 5 times 60 is 300. And 5 times 3 is 15. When I add them together, 300 plus 15 equals 315. So my final answer would be 315. So that's an example of how you can use the distributive property to break a number into easier to multiply parts, then distribute the other factor through both of those parts. Let's finally look at how we can divide using mental math. We're going to also use the distributive property and compatible numbers to divide. Remember in a previous video, we talked about using compatible numbers. We're going to come back to that now. So if I have a problem of 415 divided by 5, this is not a problem that I can easily do in my head. So I'm going to break up the number 415 into 2 numbers that are compatible with 5. I know 415 is equal to 400 plus 15, and both 400 and 15 are divisible by 5. They're compatible numbers. So now I'm going to distribute my divide by 5 into both of those parts. So now I will have 400 divided by 5 plus 15 divided by 5. Then I will solve those problems. 400 divided by 5, I know 40 divided by 5 is 8, so 400 divided by 5 is 80. Plus, I can't forget my plus, 15 divided by 5 is 3. So my answer when I add my 2 quotients together, 80 plus 3, I will get a total of 83. So 415 divided by 5 is 83. So with the distributive property, we are able to break up a number into two compatible numbers, then divide those compatible numbers by our divisor, add them together, and get our final answer. So let's recap. We can multiply mentally by using the commutative property of multiplication to change the order of factors, and using the distributive property to break a number into two numbers that are easy to multiply. And after we've multiplied the two new numbers, add the products together. The sum of the two products will be your final product. We can divide mentally by using the distributive property to find two compatible numbers that equal the dividend, then divide the two compatible numbers. Finally, find the sum of the two quotients to get your final quotient. I hope you found the video helpful. Please click like below if you enjoyed it. And remember to subscribe for more math lessons at the Math Maniac 4th grade. Have a great day.